Okay, yeah, sorry. And so yeah, I remember we were sitting there and I was on the chair and I didn't cry. And I just saw my brother and my sister on my brother's bed and they were in tears. And I felt so bad that I tried to make myself cry. I was trying and trying and trying, and my mom saw me and she looked at me, she smiled and said it was okay. And I just remember sitting there in the room with my family and I was the only one. Oh, I was upset, obviously. I was like really sad, but with no tears. And I found it weird considering when I just found out he was sick, I was so many freaking tears. And yeah, and then but we weren't able to go to the funeral or anything. And yeah, but I love my daddy. I'm gonna show the picture again because I love him so much and I miss him. Oh, fine. This way. And that's me and daddy. It's one of the only pictures I have. I've got a few others, but it's like the one that's in my room because it's just me and daddy. And most of the pictures I have are with like the whole family or whatever. And oh look, the camera's better now. Oh. Just move it over here a bit. Okay. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Then I went to 3rd grade. I remember I had a teacher, her name was Miss Chin, and I loved her so much. She was the best. And that was also the year. Sorry. That I remember I had a friend that I made when I was in like 1st or 2nd grade, and he lived on the same street as me. And when I was in 2nd grade, we realized we were in the same school now because I was at St. Patrick's before, and then I moved to Nazareth, and he was at Nazareth the whole time. But he lived on the same street, so I knew him. And I remember talking to him one day in on the street, like we were best friends. And we had another friend, Esme, and he was Brian, it was Esme and Sylvie. And we also had Lucas and whatever, and it was like a whole big gang on our street. And I remember talking to him one day, and he was telling me, because we had a teacher in common in kindergarten. I think it was Miss Bernadette, and she's still actually at that school, and they call her Miss Steiner now, though. It was Bernadette Steiner. And I remember asking him about kindergarten graduation, and he was like, oh yeah, we had a great kindergarten graduation, we got to keep the hats. And I looked at him and I was like, you kept the hats? And now, for those of you who saw my kindergarten one, I got really pissed off because I didn't get to keep the hats. It turns out, because we talked to teachers and whatever, turns out it was the same hats, but our school had them first, and they didn't want to buy new ones, so they just let them have ours. Hello, I want my hat. Okay, sorry. And yeah. So in 3rd grade, I had Miss Chen. And she was an amazing teacher. I remember like every few weeks or whatever, she would like teach us with food. Like she taught us how to make marmalade, and then we did like math, but with Rice Krispie treats. And yeah, it was awesome. I also remember that we did a little play for the Wizards of Waverly Place, the Wizard of Oz, and I was at May, and I really wanted to be Dorothy because, well, yeah, but back then I couldn't really act. And this girl, Olga, she got Dorothy, and I was like, shit. And yeah, and I was actually just talking about this with my friend because we actually go to school with the girl Olga now. And yeah, what happened? Not much really happened. And yeah, and I remember my husband was this guy named James, and I hated him. He was like very annoying, and I had to stay throughout the whole play because I had one line at the beginning and one line at the end, and that like pissed me off so much, considering now I'm probably even madder now than I was back then, because now I'm actually really good at acting. Like in drama class I get like 80s, 90s. I would do the plays, like I was asked to do a few plays and stuff, but I never really did. And then when I changed schools again for 4th grade, I was always in the plays, and I actually got like leads and stuff, but I would always decline it because I wanted to be with my friends. And then the final year I actually got the lead, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. What else happened that year? I had okay. I had a French teacher. Now, in that school, there were 2 French teachers. There was the lower graders and the higher grade French, okay? I had the lower grade because that was from, like, grade 1 to grade 3 or 4, and then grade 5 and 6 had, like, the higher one. And I remember that teacher, I really didn't like French class. I've never really liked French, okay? Je sais, je parlais seulement un peu de français, et je sais c'est important pour parler, mais j'aime pas. For those of you who don't speak French, it's like, I speak a little bit of French, and I know I'm supposed to like speak it, but I don't like this, so whatever. And you can tell I suck at it, and whatever. And but I remember that she got a student teacher, and this student teacher, he was like the hottest freaking guy in the history of the freaking world, and I forgot his name. My best friend knows it, so yeah. And everyone had a crush on him, including my sister, who was in grade 6 at the time, so she didn't have him. And she was like, oh my god, you're so lucky, you always have him. And my class, it wasn't exactly a classroom, like the upstairs was just like all open, okay, for my English and whatever. So like I had Miss Chin for all my classes except for French, and so you just sit in like this big open thing that she put like boards to make it a wall, and then you would walk out, like, and you would still see in between, and like then there would be like a door, and then there would be an actual French classroom, and that's where my French class was. And I remember you would always see this teacher walking around when it was in between classes, and so like, we'd never be like paying attention. All the girls would be like this, just staring at him, and it was so funny. And I ended up actually liking French after that, and then he left, and I hated it again. So yeah. And that was the year that I actually did a lot of French work because I wanted to show him how awesome I was at it, and I wanted him to like fall in love with me just because I was speaking French. And then all my teachers after that were stupid, so I stopped. Okay, well that was me when I was 8. Sorry this is long, it's because the daddy story was really long. Okay, bye guys.